All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with yet another edition of Felons Talk. And today I'm going to talk about a guy named Okie Bob. But before I do, I want to tell you guys something. See, what I was doing yesterday and what I'm trying to do is to monetize this channel. And in order to do that, I had to fill out some, stuff online. And they're kind of like now like they're looking at my channel to see if it can be monetized, if it fits into the guidelines, and we'll see in a few days if they think it does or it doesn't. But I tend to curse quite a bit, and I don't know if that's going to prohibit anything. I know that a certain amount of cursing is okay because people in their normal life do curse, and I think it's just when it's considered gratuitous, like then it becomes an issue. And whether mine is considered gratuitous or not, we'll see. I don't know yet, but we'll see. And other topics of discussion that I might have. Uh, uh, I don't know if they're within the guidelines or not. I mean, this is stuff that I talk about on a daily basis with other people. So I think I should be okay. So anyway, I'll know within a week or so whether or not I've been monetized. And if not, then I'll have to make some adjustments to the way I present things and in order to get monetized. Anyway, moving on. Okie Bob was a guy who came from Oklahoma to the Bakersfield area of California, along with a lot of other people who migrated from Oklahoma back in the day. Uh, I forgot there was a book written by Steinbeck about these people, called them Okies, and Grapes of Wrath, I think it was. Pretty good story, I thought. And anyway, he was one of these people that was poor and white and came from Oklahoma to California looking for a better life, his family and so forth. And he made his way into the California prison system, starting at California Youth Authority, and moved his way up into the federal prisons, into the state prison system, excuse me. And he served a considerable amount of time in the state of California. He was paroled. He got out, and he ended up committing a murder. I think it was a murder and kidnap situation where the victim was taken across the state lines and it made it into a federal kidnapping. I believe he had a life sentence for that. Anyway, Okie Bob was a good friend of Eddie Vaughn, the one of the originators of the Aryan Brotherhood, and like John Greshner spoke about Eddie Vaughn in one of my previous videos. The things he was saying were things I already knew, but uh, about him being an undercover homosexual and, you know, involved in a lot of stabbings and murders and stuff. And what stood out more about him than anything was the fact that he had gone in front of a state assembly, uh, investigating assembly of lawmakers in California. Uh, the focus of the investigation was the Aryan Brotherhood because they were becoming an issue in the California prison system, and he was able to tell them all about the Aryan Brotherhood, how it started, who was in it, and everything. And in doing so, uh, he earned himself a snitch jacket, and so his name was on the hit list. His name was in the hat, and there was green light on him, as they say. So they had to move him to out of the state of California. First, they moved him to Washington State Prison. He stabbed somebody there. Then he was moved again to the federal prison system. He ended up in Marion, and him and Okie Bob became pretty close. Excuse me. Anyway, one guy by the name, I believe his name was Brian Smiley. Brian Smiley. They called him Smiley. His real name was Brian. I don't know his last name. Was going around telling people that Eddie Vaughn was a snitch and that he had testified in front of the California subcommittee on investigations. And so Eddie Vaughn and Okie Bob stabbed the shit out of him really bad. And I believe they stuck his body under a bed. But he didn't die. He ended up living. And for that, they sent both of them over to the control unit. And after the control unit, I don't know whatever happened to Eddie Vaughn. He kind of disappeared. And then, but the story that I really want to tell you guys is about this guy got caught with some methamphetamine. And what he was doing was they was making little $20 papers up. He would take it and they'd have a little piece of paper and they'd fold it a certain way and put the methamphetamine in it, and they'd fold it up and make a little envelope, and it would cost them, $20 if you wanted to buy one of these, right? So the guy gets caught with a bunch of these little papers of methamphetamine, and he gets indicted, and they bring him to court to try him down in Marion, in the city of Marion. He calls Okie Bob as a witness. Now, here's Okie Bob. His testimony was that he was walking down, he had a bunch of these papers of methamphetamine. Okie did. He was walking with them in his pocket, and he noticed the cop was watching him. And so he took them out of his pocket and threw them into any cell. He just walked by one of these cells, just threw them in the cell on the floor, and just to get rid of them so that the cop wouldn't shake them down and find them. And that was a cell where the cop found it, and they charged this guy Smiley with the drugs because it was Smiley's cell that he threw it in. So anyway, Bobby's like basically taking the fall. He's saying, that's not his drugs. Those are my drugs. I threw them in his cell to get away from the cop because the cop was watching me, the officer, the guard, whatever. So they asked him if he could identify the drugs, if it was, if he could identify the specific drugs that were found. And he said, absolutely. So they put it on the ledge, he was sitting on the witness box, right? They put it on the ledge. He's sitting on the witness box, a ledge in front of him, the little box ledge, right? I think it was like 6 or 7 papers folded. He says, are these your boy? He said, well, yes, it does. It looks like my stuff, but I really can't tell unless you open them up. I got to look inside the papers to make sure that what's in them is my stuff, So they open each and every paper and set them there, and he's examining them like he's fucking Sherlock Holmes. He's looking at them, and he goes, One, he looked up, he grabbed him, and he started throwing him in his mouth. Boom, 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 boom. Fucking federal marshals grabbed him, tried to choke him, spit it up. And it didn't work. He managed to get them all in his mouth, and he wouldn't spit it out. And Bobby said that by the time they got him back to the penitentiary, he was bouncing off the walls. He had so much meth in him, right? It was kind of a crazy little story. But the end of the story was that the case was thrown out, and Bobby was not charged. He didn't even get charged. I mean, he already had life. You know, it wasn't going to hurt him anyway. He didn't care. Uh, so, yeah, the guy beat the case, thanks to Okie Bob, and he became, he became kind of a hero for that. Okay, please like and subscribe, and I'll be back with another story in 2 more days. I'm going to do one every other day from now on. All right. See you later.